Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chain. Can't control me. I got the power.
One fly, we all fly. One brick, we all brick. This is the Talkin VAWLS podcast, Talkin VAWLS Network post-game show. My name is the Indy Kid.
I'm Dauber. What's happening?
Oh, man, just living the dream, watching shot after shot after shot fly and not go in. And then maybe a desperation heave goes in and not go in. Just this is those nights where it is tough going live directly afterwards because ears may be a little red, butt may be a little red. Texas Tech 57, Tennessee 52. You guys in the chat, you watched it.
Woof.
You know, people say it when way to crap the bed on the big stage. Yeah, Butch Jones would have been happy tonight, brick by brick. Absolutely. I opening thoughts, Dauber. What do you think? I don't have any words for it right now. Maybe you can guide me on this one.
I mean, I've said it multiple times after multiple games. They're going to live by the three, die by the three. Everything's rosy and good when you're making shots. When you can't hit the broadside of a barn, that's what it looks like tonight. And luckily, Texas Tech was not much better. The defense kept them in this game, and even down, up to the last possession in overtime. It's a one score game. So, man, it's good to see the defense play well. But, man, somebody's got to step up and score points. That just shows you right there. I know we talked the other day. It's a good thing to have all these guys that can score. Hell, none of them showed up tonight. It's just confusing.
No, and I think guys wanted it. It's just that, there were guys who tried to get it going. Just look at the stat line here. Of course, Conway, he was non-existent in the second half. Fulkerson, 10 and 10. I thought Fulkerson did some good things tonight. I thought he played some good defense. I'd like to see how many blocks he had. It seemed like he had quite a few blocks.
5.
Okay. I was going to say he had to have had at least around 5 or so. Vescovy, 9 points, 5 boards, 2 out of 10, 3-point, 3 out of 14. Guy could not buy one. He had a big one late that tied him. Kennedy Chandler, a little bit of a rough night for him, 9 points, 4 out of 14, 1 out of 6, 3 boards, 5 assists. Victor Bailey, 3 points, 1 out of 6, 6 rebounds. Huntley Hatfield, 1 point. Euros, 2 points. Ziegler, 9 points, 1 out of 7, 3 out of 10. Justin Powell, I'm going to bring up Justin Powell in a minute, 0 points, 0 out of 3. And then Josiah Jordan James, 7 points, 10 boards, 1 out of 7, 2 out of 11. Of course, James hit a big one late, but just the story of the night, finally get the game tied, wide open dunk. I don't know. That summed up the night when James got loose and like he blew out a tire or something on the way up. I have no idea. I don't know if he slipped. I don't know. Well, I was worried about it at first that he messed up a knee, but
Yeah. My first thought here, you go to the end of regulation, tie ball game. Why do you heave up a three with like 6 seconds left? Drive to the basket, get fouled, hit a couple foul shots, go up, win the game. Especially on a night when, at that point, I think we had hit 3 3-pointers because we hit 2 or 3 in overtime. So
yeah, and that was when the game was out of reach, basically.
yeah,
So,
yeah. So why at that point, even though Vescovi hit 2 of your team's 6 3-pointers, why heave up another 3-pointer when all you need is a point to break the tie with 6 seconds left? If to me, that's something that as a coaching staff they need to use that and teach these kids. Hey, there are game situations. Know the game situation. They should have known it coming out of the timeout there, but it's just, man, it bad night. I don't know what else you can say about it, but that.
I think they had a timeout as well, did they not?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you had time. They had the numbers. Not only did they have, I mean, part of me can't blame Vescovi for taking the shot, but.
Well, I mean, it was a wide open shot, but.
I thought he had room to drive as well. Yeah. I thought he had room to drive. And, why not shoot a three? You've shot him so well on the night. Why not just catch? The bad thing about watching 40 minutes of garbage is that Texas Tech shot bad enough that we got to watch an additional 5 minutes of garbage. That's the bad thing about it all. Come on, man, do we really have to watch more of this? But, I kind of felt like when they got to overtime, they'd have a chance. But same thing. I mean,
come out ice cold.
Let's see, guys. We got I haven't hit any of the chat yet. We've got 108 people in the chat right now. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me get it. Had a few super chats here, so thanks for generosity, guys. Let me find it here. James Fair, live and die by the three. No physicality at all. We were soft, no adjustments, getting out hustled and out rebounded over it already. I didn't necessarily think they got out hustled. I thought that. And maybe I'm wrong on that too, but I thought the hustle was there. I thought that, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it goes hand in hand because I didn't feel they were crashing the boards. I mean, they were getting no offensive boards. I think Barnes kind of, we've talked about it before. If they're getting out physical, do you kind of go to that guard lineup? And they did, but they weren't trying to make anything out of it. It didn't seem. Just, like James says here, live and die by the three. No creativity. None at all. I felt there were times Barnes could have called maybe a timeout, settled it. And I sit here and say this stuff. If I knew what I was truly talking about, I'd be getting paid all this money too. So these guys get paid that for a reason. But I didn't think there were any adjustments. They kept shooting. You kept getting. I mean, they got lucky a couple times with Vescovi going in there wild with his jumping up and just throwing it behind him. Drew a foul or two, but I mean, Texas Tech is shooting. They're in the double bonus late, and Tennessee gets fouled late, and they're not even in the 1-and-1.
Yeah,
I mean, and then not only was 3-point shooting garbage, neither team could hit foul shots. Just that's a bad thing. Now Tennessee moves to 6-2 on the season. Both losses have been bad. And, like you said, though, I mean, positives out of it, the defense was good. I mean, it seemed like, especially when Texas Tech drove, they were contested all night. They did not get many freebies along the way. But,
I mean, you flip it the other way and look at it from that standpoint, you hold Texas Tech to 31% from the floor and 16.7% from three. Just looking at the defensive stats, you're like, man, that's a good night. But you gotta at least match baskets, and didn't get anything to fall. Like you said, free throw shooting, 8 of 16. Look at the score. That's 8 points left on the floor.
I mean, the good thing on that is, it was the same with Texas Tech. They were just about as bad at the free throw line. So it kind of evened out there. But thank you for the super chat, James. John Hill for 5 as well. I could have gone outside and looked at my pup's turd, and it would have looked better and smelled better than this game. Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of wishing I would have done that. At least for the last 5 minutes, that would have saved me that overtime. But, man, just like I said earlier, these nights like this, these are tough ones because emotions are high. We both said it before we come on here. We're both pissed off about this one. I mean, it was just so frustrating.
It's hard to check yourself and make sure that I don't want to get on here and trash these guys and degrade these student athletes. I don't want to get on here and degrade the coaches. I mean, it was a bad night all around. Bad night from a performance and execution standpoint. And like a couple of guys in the chat have said, I think you can legitimately call out a few instances of coaching. So, I think this is one of those that, like the Villanova game, I think that everybody needs to get back to the hotel tonight and take a little bit of a look in the mirror and get some gut check and get better starting tomorrow.
Yeah. I don't agree on this one, Christopher. I agree that he can't shoot it for them, but I thought some adjustments could have been made tonight. I don't really know. Somehow you've got, when you're at that point where you're shooting 6% from 3-point range, I mean, what point do you're kind of like, reel it in, guys, let's get to the rim. Let's make something happen. And I know we've said different things on it along the way, but I don't know. I mean, and credit to Texas Tech, too. Credit to them. They played stellar defense tonight. Yeah. So I don't want to take anything from them. It was
a defensive struggle for sure. But at some point, as a coach, you have to take control of the game and say, listen, that's not working. Let's do something different. And if you're not going to do something different, you're going to be sitting on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
That's the point of a head coach is when things are not working, you make adjustments and you put the team in the best position to win the game. And I just feel like it was sort of, and granted, we don't know what's being said in the team huddles and what they're drawing up on the boards. But I mean, you got to know that one of those guys that runs around behind Barnes, one of the assistants, they're saying, hey, we've only hit 2 threes. Hey, we're 2 of 27. So at some point you got to say, okay, let's set up a play. Let's run a high ball screen. Let's, pick and roll. Let's do something instead of just coming down and settling for a 3. Tonight, it looked reminiscent of last year at times when it was just run down and settle for a jump shot instead of trying to work through an offense.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally agree. Totally agree with you on that. And Matthew Williams, $5. Thank you, Matthew, for the super chat. Officiating was rough. Both teams couldn't shoot, but both defenses were very tough. Kept either team from getting on a roll, rebounded, and won the game. I agree with all that. I was not happy with the officiating at the end of that game. I thought Vescovy got a cheapie called on him. I thought what's the guy? Was it Shannon?
Oh,
For them,
but
they kept showing it over and over. He went down and faked, and he drug his foot, and then he nailed a jumper that should have been a travel. There was, let's see, what was it? There was an over the back at one point that was kind of touchy. There was a timeout called. I was unhappy about this. The ball got loose in the paint, and Texas Tech gets a timeout. Nobody had possession of it, yet they're able to holler timeout and they get it. That you can't call a timeout if you don't have possession of the ball. I was not happy with again. It did cost them the game, but when you're shooting like that, you don't need every break to go against you. Agree, both teams couldn't shoot. Both teams played excellent defense tonight, and I think the rebounding. In the grand scheme of this game, what won the game was rebound. I totally agree with every point on that. But these officials, man, just sorry. Just sorry. And again, I'm not blaming them. I'm not saying they cost Tennessee the game, but those were just calls that, there was a couple jump balls. Yeah, Wayne, totally agree on this. That was a jump ball. Absolutely, because nobody had the possession on it. And, the fouls against Chandler, defender coming under him. We've talked about that, like, it seems like every episode so far. Guys jump under him in the air, and it's a charge. That's not a charge.
Chandler drew a charge where he did the same thing in the first half, though.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still moving. And, man, those are the things, though. It happens every game. The thing that is concerning is that it was just so catchy, and not a soul could hit a shot. And I don't know. I thought a couple times late in the game, Fulke, he was trying to get to the basket, trying to make it happen. And he, I think he had one blocked and missed one. But man, you look at the other night, all the ball screens and the pick and roll and all that they did against Colorado. It's apples and oranges, because I think Texas Tech was a way better defensive team, but it just seemed like that was lacking. And I don't know. There just seems to be a struggle in the half court, and there was a lack of transition game. And I think, we've talked about that, having the guard heavy lineup. That's where you want to be, is in transition, moving up and down the floor. But it was just like we'd come down the floor and settle for a three.
I've kind of thought about this. This is a really good point I thought about from Donovan. No excuse here for traveling over 3,000 miles and working out. I wondered about that when I saw it. We talked about the road trip. You're going out west, and then you're turning around flying all the way up east. And I'm like him, it's no excuse, but that's a very interesting aspect. That is not a scheduling that's not scheduling logistics that I necessarily like.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it would have been any better going the opposite, but I would have liked to have seen those games maybe split up somehow. I don't know how you could have done that. I mean, you're not going to turn down playing in the Jimmy V Classic at the Garden on ESPN, but that is a very interesting point, I think.
A performance like that on the national stage, though, isn't what you want to have.
Not going to get you the call back.
Yeah.
For sure. But, I think Texas Tech's a decent team. I mean, they've been good for the last few years. They were close to winning the national title, 2 years ago, when they took Virginia down the line. Jonathan Rice, so he's going to help me lead to a point. Why the hell Powell transfer here if he isn't playing. Barnes can't win big games. Kentucky and Bama go blow us out come conference play. Bad coaching. The Powell thing, I do want to hit on that one. And I think I saw coming in he's 46% from three-point range. I think that's been more kind of in these blowout games. So do you think there is a trust factor here with Barnes? Is there something he's seeing with Powell? Because we talked about it. I'd like to see Ziegler, Chandler, Vescovy, and Powell. I'd kind of like to see them. I mean, when Vescovy's out here going 1 for 10, and I like him, I think he's one of the better players on the team, but maybe sitting and watching for a minute can help. And this was that's another. And Jonathan, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that as well. But that's kind of a question I have as well, because I feel I wish there was one of the box scores that had the minutes breakdown, because I feel like Bailey was in more than Powell. Powell was hardly in at all in that second half. Do you think it's a trust issue or what right now?
It's hard to tell. You go back a couple games when Powell was 5 for 5 from three.
Yeah.
And then tonight, I think 0 for 3. So it's one of those, I guess maybe could be a trust thing, or it could be he's hot right now, let's keep him in. But if that's the case, then there'd been nobody on the floor tonight because nobody was hitting. So I don't know.
This could have been it. I don't think he had a very good first half. I don't remember seeing him in the second half either. See, Terry Reed here said, I don't remember seeing him in. If he was, it was very, very minimal. Let's see here. I think that caught us up on Super Chats. Thank you, guys. We're up to 126. That's a good night for the basketball. Unfortunately, takes a crap show. So, if you guys haven't already, you know the drill. If you'll go in and smash that like button, we would appreciate that. Just to let's kind of see what we got here. Kind of scroll through the comments here a little bit. But, just kind of going back to the creativity of the offense. And again, some were saying, well, you can't blame it on Barnes. And then I'm with you. When you're the head coach, and again, I'm not the guy getting paid millions, and there's probably a reason for that. But, when it's, I don't know, if I'm sitting, like you said, at 2 of 20, I'm calling a timeout or something. And we're changing this. We're in this ball game. We're in it despite shooting 10% or 1%, whatever, basically at that point. We're in it shooting 10%. Okay? What can we do to up that? And there just wasn't. I don't know. I don't really have the answers. I just thought it was strange. It was just like let's keep going with it. Hopefully they'll fall. And,
I think that's what it is. I mean, for a shooter, you want to have a short memory. You don't want to be thinking about the last one that didn't go in. You're thinking about the next one and thinking about it going in. The old 10 cup. You visualize it. I don't know what they were visualizing tonight, because, of course, there were a handful of those that were in and halfway around the cylinder and coming back out. So it's
plenty of open looks. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. It's just mind-boggling to have a team that can shoot so well one night and then come out and have a performance like tonight. But
I was hoping they showed Allen Houston in the stands. I was hoping he still had a game or two of eligibility on him, because he could have helped out.
He definitely hit some shots there in the Garden. So,
God, he was up there. He was happy. Or excuse me. He was not happy
yeah.
watching Tennessee, him a 3-point ace like he was, and watching that performance. It's I don't know. Yeah, here's a pretty good point. John Hill for $5. Thank you, John. I think even Boogie could have made more threes tonight. I could have made more threes. I know. I don't know about you, Dauber. You said you played some old rec ball. I know Starnes on here, Wayne in the chat. I know he could have made more than that back in his day.
We need to have a Talkin VAWLS challenge. Go out and take 39 shots and see if you can hit more than 6.
Oh yeah, I've got that. I got that easily. So, Wayne Starnes, $5. Just praised you. I gave you one back, Wayne. I know you could have hit some. You'd have hit your share. Definitely from back in the day. Probably still can, but Powell shot the ball horribly tonight. Maybe that's why he was on the bench. I mean, maybe so. 0 out of 3.
To me, I think to be, in the doghouse or not getting a lot of minutes on a Rick Barnes coach team is you're lacking on the defensive end.
Yeah, and that could have been it. That could have been what was, because I mean, it's that was one thing. The guys that were in missing shots, they were playing defense.
Yeah,
and yeah, we've already talked about the free throws. 50% from free throws. I kind of negate it just because Texas Tech was about as bad.
They were 60%. They were 15 to 25.
Yeah, ESPN doesn't update the free throws on there. I just see this beautiful 3-point percentages. But yeah, Tennessee was 8 out of 16, 50%. I mean, yeah, you're not going to win games shooting like that. And it's amazing how some nights they've shot the lights out, and then other nights they cannot buy one. It's just I don't necessarily know that the moment was too big for Chandler, but he had a rough night. I think Texas Tech caused him some problems. And I noticed at the end that he went driving in kind of wild late in the game. Barnes got on him about it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he I don't know. He's had a couple rough games, and you got to expect it. I mean, awesome player. When it all boils down to it, he's still freshman. He's going to have rough nights. I would like to see that James going to the rim, or I would like to see him going to the rim more. But I don't know. The one time he did tonight, he blows a tire and on the fast break. I still don't know what happened on that one.
I watched the replay, and I was trying to figure out if he was trying to do something to, blow the roof off the play. It looked like he was just going up for a regular layup. It didn't even look like he was going to dunk it.
No. It just felt so strange. And I mean, at first I thought, well, I thought it was a knee or something. And then I seen him come back, and it was
in real time. I thought he'd hurt himself. And it actually did look, he kind of rolled off and was barely in the frame. It looked like he was rolling around hurt. But then they were like, oh, he's up after Texas Tech took the ball down the other end. But, yeah, I mean, like you said, it just sums up the night. I mean, wide open, layup, and we have that happen.
Yeah. Unbelievable. I mean, it's, you said, you can't.
Let's talk about this. There was a 7 and some change minute stretch where neither team scored. Tennessee goes 10 minutes without scoring. I mean, that's the story here. If you go 10 minutes plus of basketball time, that's 35 minutes of the ball not going in the hole And well, I mean, you saw the fans' reaction to a made free throw.
Yeah.
It just bad night. The thing is, and I said this after Villanova, it's early in the season. You're not even 10 games in. I don't think you can call it or you can't rule this team out based on one performance. There are some things that are concerning, but at the end of the day, playing teams like Villanova, playing teams like North Carolina, playing Texas Tech in Madison Square Garden, all these things hopefully get you set up to peak at the end of the season. Terry Reed bringing up a good point right there. Barnes is searching for a rotation. Yeah, and we've said that because, going into the Villanova game, it didn't seem like anything was set, and that was such a anomaly as a game just because we got manhandled. That it's still not. And then you had James getting hurt. So it's one of those things. I think he's got some guys that he wants out there, but it's finding the other guys to go with those guys.
I think we've kind of seen who his main five is going to be. I think it's all things being equal, everybody being healthy. The team that was running most of the second half was Ziegler, Chandler, Vescovy, James, and Fulkerson. That's going to be your main lineup. And they probably won't all start, but I think when it comes down to it, that's going to be his go-to lineup. And, one thing I would look at on it is, would you rather have this performance in December or would you rather have it in March? Like I said, you play these tough teams, you play these games, playing in the Garden, that's a big deal. Yeah, you didn't have the night you wanted up there tonight. Absolutely not. But it's a big-time environment, a big-time atmosphere for these guys. And it's another opportunity now. You're still in December. You got a long way to go. Mm-hmm. What can you take out of tonight to work on? And, you don't ever want to lose, and you don't want to look like tonight. But, one thing you can take positives. The defense was very good. Very good defense. They created a lot tonight. Where do you need to improve? There's going to be nights where they're shooting 43s and they're hitting half of them. Tonight wasn't that night, unfortunately. There's going to be other nights they will. We talked about live by it, die by it. But I don't know. People are talking about post. We've talked about this a little bit. I think you've got to somehow, some way, speed up the development of Huntley Hatfield. Mm-hmm. And, does a guy like Adu, Kamwa went missing tonight. So I don't really know how much you're going to be able to rely on him in a big game. He played pretty good against North Carolina. Other than that, in the better games, he's disappeared.
He'll have a spell of, 5 or so minutes where he's very productive and then, like you said, just disappears, falls off. And I don't, was he even out on the floor in the second half?
I think he started. I think they come out because I keep saying I think because I'm trying to think back to it because they brought Ziegler in pretty quick.
Yeah. So
I'm thinking they went with the starting 5, and then Texas Tech got up. What did they get back up to 9?
Their largest,
so then they went to Ziegler.
The game was 9. So I think maybe once.
So they pushed it out. 34-25 or 34-26. That's when he brought Ziegler in, and it went from there. But, I mean, gosh, if they're not making the threes, they've got to be, I don't know, they've got to be crashing the boards.
Well, that's Craig J says that exact same thing, and then Wayne with a good comment here. If you're not making threes, you got to figure out how to get a bucket, and that's driving to the rim, the easiest way. And yeah, I mean, it is. But on the flip side, it seems like tonight, every time they tried to drive in, they were losing the handle of it, getting it knocked away, or shots were getting blocked or altered, or Vescovi did it, and Chandler did it once or twice tonight. Driving in the lane, getting up in the air, and not knowing what they're going to do with it, and then just like crazily throwing it, or heaving up a half-hearted shot attempt. Nothing was working tonight, and I think that's putting it very mildly, and in I guess FCC and YouTube terms, because like you said, it's emotional coming on here and talking about a game that is as poor as they played tonight. You kind of got to check yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we have figured something out, though. One thing I figured out, this is not a physical team.
Yeah.
They are not a physical team. We have seen very little physicality out of this team. They're much more of a finesse team. And I don't know. I can't believe – I really feel that it's a team – and I'll hit this super chat in a minute, and it brings up a good point. But I feel it's a team that's got good shooters. How in the hell does everybody go cold at the same time?
Yeah, that's what I said after the Colorado game. You got Vescovi and Chandler, kind of your steady guys that are going to be consistently scoring points for you. And then you've got other guys that could any given night could step up and have a big night. But, yeah, everybody just went silent tonight at the same time.
Yeah. And Matthew Williams, $5. Thank you again, Matthew. We appreciate you. As many shooters as we have, I can't wrap my head around how they can all be off the same night. Happened twice now. Never expected that pre-season. Yeah, it's an excellent point. Excellent point. It's mind-boggling. It's happened twice now. And one thing about Tennessee, guys, they don't halfway do it. When they lose, they do it in style. It's what's the answer, Moo? If you're Rick Barnes, we get paid all these millions on YouTube to sit here and analyze like Rick Barnes does. But if you're Rick Barnes and you're going to that mirror tonight, what are you looking at? What do you do moving forward?
Well, moving forward, I'm pretty thankful that the next two games coming up are UNC Greensboro and South Carolina Upstate, because I think you can kind of get back in a rhythm, find your offense that you obviously left in Colorado, or try to get that rotation sorted. Try to get your best five out there, and try to get the guys coming off the bench in a rotation that works and gels and jives. Because after those games, it's all uphill. You got Memphis, Arizona, and then right into conference play with Alabama, Ole Miss, and LSU. So you're talking about three ranked teams in your next 6 games.
Yeah. Agree with this one, Terry. If I'm Rick Barnes, I'm staring at that ceiling tonight. No doubt about it. It's And, there's a point in it. Brandon here says, at what points is a coaching issue?
And I think we.
There's stuff I think we can. Yeah, there's stuff Barnes could have done better, but there's also, I felt effort was there tonight. At Villanova, we questioned the effort. I didn't have an issue with effort tonight. Maybe shot selection, maybe decision making, but again, I thought their defense was good. They weren't lollygagging. So I'll give them credit. And, it's just kind of like football. I hate to bring up the effort issue, but, you go back to Villanova when I felt they pretty much quit that night because they got punched in the mouth. As bad as the night was going, they never really had bad body language.
Yeah.
They got annoyed. Yeah, and who wouldn't tonight?
Yeah, when you're watching shot after shot not go in, it's frustrating.
I can't say I'm dissatisfied with the effort, and that still tells me they're responding to what Coach Barnes is doing, or else you would have probably seen something similar to Villanova where they would have just laid down and pouted tonight.
Yeah, I think tonight comes down to execution. It was just poor performance, lack of execution, because we've seen all these guys make those shots. They just weren't falling tonight, and it just happened so that everybody is on the same page, not being able to make a shot. We touched on it a little bit earlier. I think there are some things that you can kind of question, the timing of making an adjustment, calling a timeout, setting up an offensive play, saying, hey, listen, we need to run this, get them out of the mindset of let's run down the floor and take a three, draw something up, get them going, get something rolling, because it wasn't there. It did seem a little bit, I don't know, just not inspiring on the offensive end.
Especially there at the end, you had time. You got time because Texas Tech rushed it. I guess their guy maybe saw a lane, but Tennessee made a defensive play. And, again, you had numbers. And I know Vescovy had an open look, but, man, I really felt, and we talked about it earlier, he had an open lane with it. I wonder, a part of me wonders, and I thought there were a couple times it showed, they got a couple of cheap charges called on them. How much do you think that affected them wanting to drive? Because there was later on, I felt that there was a couple times where they went driving in. It was like they were almost trying to avoid that charge. Just very timid with it. I wonder how much that messed with them as well.
Yeah, I agree. That could be part of it. I was referring to offensively that they played horrible. The defense kept this team in the game, and said that at the top of the show. To be down one possession in the closing seconds of overtime, on a night where you shot and played as poor as you could offensively, that is pretty good. But at the end of the day, like I said, you're 8 games in. I don't think it's anything to freak out over, but I think you go to the drawing board tomorrow and you start getting better. Otherwise, like I said, after these 2 kind of tune-up games coming up, it's all going to be uphill.
Yeah, we've talked about this, man. You can't step in front of one, something coming down. It's getting called though.
Yeah.
And it got called tonight. It's gotten called in other games as well. I think you mentioned as well. I think Chandler got one as well. I just don't think these official. I don't know. I don't know if it's just told to be. I don't. Games are called so strangely because one time a guy will get knocked around and nothing, and the next time they touch him and it's a foul. I think that there was some timidness with it at the end. I didn't realize somebody brought up the blue hose again because we got the sex bots in the chat again tonight. So Presbyterian, no, we're not talking about them tonight. So you guys can leave if you feel like it. But yeah, this stuff's ridiculous, Wayne. I agree with you, man. Already releasing the ball, already making your move, already in the air. Guy jumps under you and gets set. That is not a charge. And I just hate it. And I don't even think the rule needs to change. It just needs to be enforced correctly.
Consistently.
And, I mean, it's been, even back when we played, that was a block. And anytime you jump in front of a guy like that, it's a block, especially when they're in the air. If you're in your lane, you're set, that's a charge, and the guy just bowls you over. But I don't know. I think it's, I agree. Terry Reed, again, had a good point here. Let me find it. Where was it? Good one. To shoot this badly and still have a chance at the end was amazing. I thought that too. I was like, because I was kind of looking at the stats a little bit. I'm like, how in the world is this even a game? And, how did this even get to overtime? It's just, I mean, as frustrating as it was, hats off to the team as well. Again, that's one thing that I will commend them for is they had to be frustrated that they couldn't get anything to fall tonight. And yet, here they were still busting it on that defensive end.
Yeah.
A lot of plays that they made. So, yeah, they got some traveling to do back from New York to Knoxville. They'll get ready for a few days, and we'll see where it is. But I think Barnes would prefer to go with two post guys. I will say I think he tries to adapt a little bit to that, but yeah, I don't know. I think you got to get a guy. I say it again. I would be working hard to try to get Huntley Hatfield, especially these next two games.
Yeah.
This is a good time to showcase him and try to get him up to speed a little bit.
Gonna have to do something.
I mean, I don't know tonight. I mean, we've said it before. Would they go 5 guards? I just don't know. Tonight would have worked. I mean, they weren't rebounding, but they weren't driving. They were just setting out shoot. I don't know what the answer was tonight, and maybe that's where Rick Barnes was at with it as well. And they had good looks. They definitely had good looks. So I don't know. That's let's see, Saturday. Got the question. I know it's UNC Greensboro. I think it's 4:30.
4:30.
So typically UNC Greensboro is a pretty tough team. I have not kept up with them. So we'll see how they got. I know their coach left and went to Cincinnati last year. Anyways, I would still expect, a tougher game than Presbyterian or Tennessee Tech. Of course, Tennessee Tech gave them a tough game as well. UNC Greensboro and then USC Upstate.
South Carolina Upstate, yeah.
And then Memphis. And that's – I'm chomping at the bit for 2 weeks or a week and a half wanting that Memphis game. That's going to be your next chance for retribution, next chance to get one back. So I'm curious to see how the team adjusts to it. It's another ugly game, but if that team's hitting shots tonight, they win pretty easily. Maybe it's as easy as that. It's just you chalk it up to you couldn't shoot tonight. But I don't know. I still would have liked to have seen some kind of adjustments. And I'm saying again at the end, timeout, drive to the lane, something. I don't know. With Vescovy, he's got two moves: shoot a three, or go driving and jump up in the air and just sling it somewhere. That's his two moves. So he was probably not the ideal guy to get it if you're wanting to drive at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if this team can bounce back the way they did after the Villanova loss. They came back and played probably one of their best games against UNC. So it's going to take that same kind of focus and, checking yourself to let this one go and move forward.
Yeah. We touched upon this earlier. Donovan made a comment about the travel. I mean, I hate to use excuses on it. Can't really think it helped going all the way out to Colorado and turn around going all the way back to New York.
Yeah, and playing at that altitude as well.
Yeah. Yeah, going from that altitude and then going to New York. I think rebounding, I mean, funny thing is you had two guys in double figures on rebounds tonight. And I am actually really curious because I have not compared the rebounding battle. So it looks like Texas Tech had 54, Tennessee 47. They weren't out rebounded as bad as I thought they would have been, just by 7, which honestly to me seems like not too bad of a night because I really felt like Texas Tech dominated the boards. I mean, that's still a resounding victory, but it's still kind of not as bad as I thought it was. But that's a good point. I mean, they've got to get – my one thing I would like to see is I think this team needs to get more physical, and I just don't know. I don't know that that's going to change unless you start implementing some of these big guys more into it. And, that kind of goes against what we said earlier in the week. And I'm not pulling a total 180 by any means, but, they're going to have to get some big guys up to speed if they want to become a physical team.
On a night like tonight when the shots aren't falling, that's the only other option you have is trying to go big and pound it into the paint. And with the guys that you have consistently getting minutes at the forward positions.
Let's see. That's what we just saw tonight. James at the 4. I mean, unless it was just kind of a rotating wing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Fulkerson was your kind of big. So I don't know. This is still one I scream. You got a man child. I know he's still could have been in high school right now, but dude.
I'm looking at the average minutes right now on the season, and Huntley Hatfield is averaging 15 minutes a game.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
He's got in 7 games. So it doesn't include tonight, I guess.
Yeah.
Chandler's averaging 28 minutes, Vescovi 27, Fulkerson 25, James 25, Kamwa 22, Powell 21, Bailey 16, Ziegler 16. So
do you think it's would you up some guys' minutes and pull back some others, or is it a case right now? It's December. Let's kind of spread the minutes out as much as possible till we figure out who we want to pile them on for later.
Yeah. I said that's stats through 7 games, Wayne. That's doesn't include tonight. But it shows he's averaging 15.7 minutes. So
Interesting. I mean, he's had some moments here and there. I think with a lot of these freshmen, I mean, outside of Chandler, Ziegler is obviously the exception. I think he's already exceeded any expectations of him.
Oh yeah,
Because I mean, I
definitely.
didn't know what to expect. I mean, he's one of your main guys right now. This is going to be a team. I think the cool thing, the good thing about this team, and what I want to see with Barnes is, I mean, we can, unfortunately, with the loss, you can analyze it, you can overanalyze it. Yeah, I think part of it just comes down to you hit your shots, you win the game. You hit your free throws, you win the game. But still, there has to be a little bit more creativity, I think. But what's going to tell me about Barnes? We could question him and stuff, but I want to see where this team's at come February and March. Are they developing? Are they getting better? Are we starting to see that creativity? Are we starting to see that improvement? Or are they just spinning the tires? Are they stuck in the mud? That's going to tell me a lot about Barnes and where he goes. Not necessarily where they're at now. You know, this is one of those. It's kind of like in Ted Lasso season 2 when Man City comes in and beats Richmond in the FA Cup semi 5-0. He just puts on the Benny Hill music and puts it fast forward and watches it in about 90 seconds and gets it over. It's kind of the same thing here. I think you just put on the Benny Hill music. It is what it is. On to the next one. And sometimes I think you've got to do that in these games, and this is probably one of them.
Yeah, definitely shows you more that you need to work on than that you did well.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'll give them credit. They could have. Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, because that was one thing with Villanova. I don't think we were very happy with anything after that game. You know, some shots fall, maybe a little more. I don't know. I would like to be a fly on the wall. That's kind of one place where I wish, we had the access, which something we probably never will, but where we could interview a Barnes. Were they worried about charges? Were they kind of timid with that? Is that why there was a lack of driving? Was that just player choice? What was it there? But, I'm curious to see where they go with that.
That's the thing. Like you said, though, this team didn't give up. That they could have easily just folded and packed it in when the shots weren't falling. When 10 plus minutes and you're not hitting a bucket. Could have just turned it off on the other end, but they didn't. That's what kept this game in reach. And that is what's frustrating about it. That to play that bad and still be in the ball game, but you go to bed tonight. You take a hard look in the mirror at yourself, and the sun's going to rise tomorrow, and you get to play again in 3 or 4 days. So go from there.
Yeah. I mean, and again, Texas Tech's a tournament team. They'll be playing in March this year. So we'll see. It's a few more shots fall and we're looking good then. But we're hitting right at about an hour. Guys, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button. We're approaching, somebody said just a minute ago, 19 more to get to 100. Be cool if we could get to that. Any final thoughts on this game before we wrap it up and plug the rest of the week?
Not this game, but I know something you need to plug. So something that's coming out hot.
Let me see if I can pull it up here.
I put you on the spot, didn't I?
Yeah, I thought about this earlier and I didn't have it pulled up, but
Appreciate you asking, Terry. I feel much better than I did last week. Out of quarantine, back to work, which isn't much fun, but man, still dealing with fatigue. So I don't recommend this whole virus deal. So if you can avoid it, do it.
Let's see. Troy Lee, Texas Tech was 6-1. They're a perennial tournament team. I don't know if they're a great team. I definitely think it's a team Tennessee should have beaten, but not a bad team either. Well, we'll see them in March, and if I'm wrong, I'll happily eat the crow.
I think they were a good defensive team.
Yeah, I mean, they couldn't hit either. I mean, as bad as Tennessee shot, they didn't shoot really much better themselves. But, let's see. Get it here. I think I know. I'm probably reading your mind what you wanted. Guys, it's almost that season. The holidays are upon us. That loved one or loved ones in your family, what do they need?
I got to order
PBA Jam.
I got to order me one of these.
Thompson Brick Arena Jam. The Brick Arena Jam. That's what that is tonight. But unisex T-shirts, got your different colors down here for all you guys. Women's racerback, but I know you guys that want to show off those guns or
I'm pretty sure there's a men's tank top as well.
Yeah. Or those twigs for arms. Some of you guys hadn't hit the gym in a while. Maybe you want to kind of show off for your women or try to pick up some. There's you a nice little racerback tank top. That crew neck sweatshirt looks like that'll be a nice one, especially if it's getting cold out. Be a nice one to lay around in. You got retro Vols merchandise with the new logo on that. Got T-shirts, got hoodies, got long sleeve tees, State Pride, T-shirts, hoodies, baseball tees. There's that Talkin VAWLS flat bill hat. The customers ask for it. It's there. There for the taking. There for the buying. There's the Talkin VAWLS toboggan, cuff beanie, diamond Vols, T-shirts, long sleeve tees, baseball tees as well. Baseball not far around the corner. It should be an exciting year for them. Ball hoops. Here we go. Talkin VAWLS, T-shirts, hoodies, T-shirt, long sleeve tees. And then there's the old school Talkin VAWLS logo as well. And if you're a coffee drinker, you want to make some Baileys in your coffee, there's your nice mug for that. And Talkin VAWLS water bottles. So it's the season of giving. If you want any of that stuff, if you'd like to buy some of that, it'd be cool if you did.
Helps support the channel. So we appreciate that. We appreciate everybody hanging out tonight and all the super chats. Wayne brings up a great point, and I'd be remiss if I didn't make a statement about that. Talking about it's a Jimmy V Classic, and it's cancer research, cancer support. My mom is a survivor. I know a lot of other people. Anybody cancer has touched their family. It's awful disease, and anybody that's going through it that has come out on the other side, and so many that haven't. Just keep the fight, and like Jimmy V said, and I think they played it at halftime, and in between the two games. It is a really cool video. If you've not seen it, I recommend you go watch that little excerpt from the ESPYs. Never give up. That's something. It's a struggle, and it's hard. It's tough, but it's pretty awesome when you've got support from people around you.
Yeah, it's I would probably assume that most of us, if not all of us, have been affected by it in some way. Like I said, your mom's a survivor. My dad's a survivor of it. Lost an aunt to it. Boogie, our old Boogie here, his mom lost his mom to cancer. Just so many, and forget friends, old high school friends lost to it, just friends, met along the way. It's affected all of us. And, that's something that hits home with everybody. And,
that makes you kind of reset and reevaluate things right there. Cause we're on here, we're talking about games, and that's real life stuff right there. So puts things in perspective.
That's right. So thank you guys for mentioning that. Any going through it, thoughts and prayers with them. But we're going to wrap this thing up here. We're about an hour and 5 minutes. Thank you guys for tuning in with us tonight. We will be back with you tomorrow night, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Talking Vols football. Should be plenty to talk about with recruiting, just the coaching carousel, just different things going on, maybe with this roster. We'll see if any kind of news breaks tomorrow of any kind as well. I think we'll have plenty to talk about tomorrow night. Dauber and I will be back with you Saturday, 4:30 UNC Greensboro, post-game after. The plan is, guys, one way or another, and we'll let you know otherwise, but all basketball games, there will be a post-game show. We'll try to make something happen. If not, we'll have a little bit of a recap on that as well. But as always, guys, thanks for tuning in with us. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy your Wednesday. We will see you tomorrow. This is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is the Indy Kid. He's Dauber. Hopefully you guys will join us tomorrow night. Let me find the outro. We're out of here. Take care, guys.